Most people think the housing market is random. It's definitely not. There is a pattern that's repeated itself over the last few decades. And right now we're at one of the most important moments in our current cycle. So give me a minute. This might help you deepen your thoughts about the real estate market. Let's go back in time. Think back to 2021. You find a home in Westminster, Ellicott City, Catonsville, just about anywhere in Maryland. You waive every contingency, you offer $50,000 over ask, and you still lose. Then rates start to go up and the market shifts. But agents and sellers were still pricing like it was 2021. But buyers stopped following. That gap between what sellers wanted and what buyers would be willing to pay, that's where markets reset. That wasn't a fluke. That's a pattern, and it's playing out again right now. Let me explain. So the cycle always follows the same sequence. Not perfectly, but enough to be consistent and talk about. So demand builds, sellers push pricing higher, buyers start pushing back, the market resets, and then recovery begins. There are depths to the cycle too. Like the reset of 2012 is much deeper than the reset we might be experiencing right now. So what matters most? First, pricing behavior. This is list prices and indicates market intent. Second, market response. This is measured in average sale price and time on market. And then the difference between the two is that growing or shrinking. The third one's friction, withdrawals and cancellations. So where are we locally right now? So the data is telling a very clear story. Average list prices are sitting at about $485. Average sale prices are $450. That's a $35,000 gap or minus 7% difference. In both 2024 and 2025, the gap was minus 8%. So the gap between market intent, list price, and market reality, sale price, has narrowed. But over a third of all listings have had a price cuts, and sellers are routinely accepting offers below asking price. That's not a crashing market. That's a market that's trying to find its footing and negotiating. While the average sale price in 2026 has gone up 3% so far, homes are now sitting on the market for 36 days. This compared to 28 days last year. That slower pace is a signal. Prices are still up, but the urgency has cooled. Another thing to think about, this is a two-speed market. Here's what's really interesting. Homes that have sold this year are doing so in about 41 days on average. But overpriced homes, they're sitting for an average of 85 days. That's a month and a half gap. That speaks volumes. Price it right, buyers are still there. Price it wrong, and you'll be watching from the sidelines. Here's the hidden warning signal. The stat that most people aren't watching: withdrawals. Deals that fall apart before they close. That now makes up 22%, almost a quarter of all weekly real estate activity. When that number rises, it means expectations between buyers and sellers are breaking down. That's the friction signal, and it's flashing right now. Now, Maryland remains closer to a seller's market as we go through 2026, especially around the Baltimore metro area. Active inventory has shrunk 21% this year from same time last year, and that tight supply is keeping prices supported, even as buyer demand softens. It's not a balancing act. It's not a crash. It's not a boom. Here's what I want you to watch, though. Don't watch the price. This is the paradigm shift. Watch the gap. The key insight from decades of data is markets don't actually turn when prices fall. They turn when pricing and buyer behavior fall out of sync. If the gap between asking and accepted price widens, expect more pressure ahead. If it narrows, the market is starting to stabilize. That's the number to track. So far this year, we've seen the gap narrow. So here's the deal. If you're thinking about making a move in the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, it doesn't matter. Or you're just curious about how your home's value is being impacted. Maybe you know somebody who's considering moving. This is exactly why having somebody with eyes on local data matters more than ever, and why having the conversation sooner than later is important. Not because the market's scary, but because this moment in the cycle is where the right move makes a serious difference. So if you know somebody who's considering moving, please feel free to forward this to them, and feel free to connect us or connect via text or email. Happy to answer any questions, and I'll give you a pretty straight read on exactly where our local market stands. No pressure, no pitch, just honest data. Right information can help you make the right decisions, and that's what it's all about. Make it a great day.